Dzień dobry. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. Ciao. How are you doing this morning? It's Ken at 10. Hope you're having a good day today. If you haven't been here before, thanks for joining us. Every day at 10 o'clock, I pop on, have a quick chat about what's going on the property market and in the world. We're estate agents based in southwest London, Norbury to be precise. And the weather right here is overcast, which is a little disappointing because we got some video tours we're going to do today. And some of you will know we do presented video tours. And so it's always a shame when the weather's a little bit naff, but we'll do our best to make them bright and sunny. Be that bright torch in the darkness. So I hope you're having a good day so far. Notice in the press today, more talk of negative interest rates. Now that's a weird one, isn't it? The thought that people will pay you to borrow money doesn't quite work like that. I should preface this by saying this is not financial advice. But what it does tell us is that in the medium term, where there's talk of negative interest rates, there's certainly not talk of rate rises, which may make you consider what kind of fixed rate you take out and for how long in terms of your mortgage. It's an interesting one. In some countries, there are those that end up paying a little bit more back than they borrowed every year because of negative interest rates in Europe right now. I don't see that happening in the UK, but if there are negative rates, it could well be that your rates come down. I think largely rates will just stay as they are because there has to be some sort of margin. I mean, at the moment, they're at 0.1 anyway. So it can't really get much better in terms of the rates on offer from the lenders. But nonetheless, what it does, it states in quite clear terms, if they're thinking about negative rates, that rates are at least going to stay as low as they are or lower for the foreseeable future, which is good news if you've got a mortgage and you're worried about what might happen, given everything else going on around. In terms of the market, really busy on offers. I mean, yesterday, I think, was our busiest day on offers for a long time. Of course, a lot of it was tying up offers from last weekend where we're really busy with viewings. Lots of people out there looking. Everybody wants to beat that March deadline. What will happen? Will we all get there? It's a hard one because there are so many variables, so many different things. Question is your lender going to be efficient enough? Is the solicitor you use going to be efficient enough? You know, where there are even solicitors that are refusing to quote unless you're ready to go ahead right now. And I can understand that. You know, we're in a position where we're so busy that if people have got property to sell, then, you know, we're saying until you're under offer, chances are there won't be a viewing because vendors only want to see people that are ready to move them, because guess what? They want to make that deadline too, just like you. And the only way they can do that is if they get a buyer that's in a position to move forward. Frustrating, I know, if you're on the market or not yet on the market and you want to see what's out there. But what I would say is in this day and age, virtual viewings are possible. You've got the floor plans, you've got the pictures anyway. You should be able to get a really good mind's eye idea of what's out there on the market in your price range right now. And then, of course, once you're under offer, you become a priority for any good estate agent, and then they'll take your inquiry forward and you can actually arrange a physical viewing. Obviously, in these COVID times, people don't want to see people that can't move them. You know, why would you have any sort of exposure to risk that isn't necessary in today's market? So yeah, apart from that, busy day all round, and pleased to report that the market's going forwards with haste. In terms of lettings, a little bit quieter. That we can expect to continue, I think, with COVID looking rough over the next few months. We're in for a rocky ride, aren't we? No doubt about that. In terms of the housing market, no doubt it will continue apace as long as we have that stamp duty deadline to beat. Whether it'll be extended or not at the last moment, that remains to be seen. As many of you will know, I'm hoping and think they may extend that. And if they do, that will make a huge difference. And I think the market needs that fillip, that boost next year. Otherwise, it will drop off a cliff. And nobody wants that. It's not in anyone's interest. If you're thinking moving and thinking, should I do it now or next year? Well, look, if you've got equity in your property, I say this all the time, but so often people are looking at, is it going to be a bit more, a bit less? Well, if you're buying and selling, it's going to be a bit more and a bit less elsewhere as well. So what you've got to ask yourself is, if you've got sufficient equity, do I want to move the pot of money that's sat in my house over to the new house? Not worry about the figures so much as A, is it affordable? And B, is it the right time for me to make the move? Only you can decide that. But I think it's really important that you do it not because of some stamp duty incentive or not because of any other reason other than you feel the timing is right. One of the reasons the time might be right, as I've said many times now, is that there's such a good supply of property on the market. So if you're looking to buy, you should be able to find. And if you can't find in this market, I always say to people, look, if you can't find exactly what you're looking for, where you're looking, two choices: other areas or lower your sites. So if you're looking for that detached house, perhaps you could consider a semi. If you're looking for a detached with a garage, perhaps consider one without the garage. all sorts of things that you might be able to compromise on. If you're looking at a terrace 3-bedroom, perhaps you could get one that's unextended rather than extended, a bit further from the station, maybe the next postcode along. There are always things that you can compromise on. And in the end, buying property is about compromise, no matter what your price range, whether you've got 3 million or 300,000, there are always things that only you can decide what you're going to compromise on. Maybe it doesn't have that beautiful kitchen that you would love, but you can put it in later. Maybe it's got everything you want, but the location's not quite where you want it to be. So it's important that you go out there and compare a few and decide for yourself. One of the questions we're always asking buyers is, how does it compare, the one that you've viewed through us, so that we can get a real handle on what you think of the property. We can feed that back to our clients so they can get a realistic mind's eye view of what you think. And the reason why what you think is important is that you buyers out there, you're the important ones, because you're the ones seeing 10 in your price range this week. So who's the expert in that range, us or you? I'd always say you. And so for that reason, any good agent should be asking you, how does the one you looked at compare? Does it compete with the other ones you've seen? Is it one of the best or is it not? Having those open conversations is the best way forward for us to then determine what's right for you. If we can work out what's wrong with what you're looking at, then even if it's derogatory, and you say, well, this is wrong or that's wrong, then we can have a good discussion about trying to maybe open out into other areas or other possibilities, or just a frank discussion of, look, at that price range in this area, it's not possible, whatever it is. But at least trying to help people, and sometimes that does mean they have to have awkward conversations about price and potential availability of property. But better that than you waste your time looking for something that's never going to appear and then meet the very deadline you're probably trying to beat, So I hope that's helpful. Hope you have a great day today. Look after yourselves and your families. Stay safe and well. I'll be back at the same time tomorrow with another Ken at 10.